Greetings and salutations. In this video, it's going to be a little overview of Linux Mint 19.1. Let me minimize this so that way you can just see the desktop here right there. Okay, so with the Linux Mint, you can definitely see in the GUI. GUI is the what they call its graphical user interface, and what gives you your menus. And so this, in a lot of ways, this is very cloned after a kind of Windows 7, Windows 10, and they've branched off in their own directions in some aspects. And I've seen cleaner versions. Like you can have, there's something like 40 different distros, and so you can have these to where they look like Apple machines, Windows machines. There's a variety, and sometimes there's a homogeny of the two. And so the two things that have changed in the last year is Steam has really come on online. And so if I I'm going to show you the kind of the Linux Mint display. So Linux is more they've kind of transitioned a little bit. The terminal's still there and it still exists and all the functionality is there, but it definitely has and it comes with a default package software suite as well. So instead of using Microsoft Word, they use and see how they have it applications. So you see games, internet, Office. So under the Office tab icon here, you'll have calendar, and then Libra is the Microsoft Office equivalent inside there's a couple other ones, but in Mint, they use the Libra family for their PowerPoint. And so like I'll just open up Excel, and I'm not, this isn't about the LibreOffice suite, but I just kind of want to show you the the functionality. And there you can have preset templates here too. So um, I don't know. There we go. So you have your preset tab, blank template. Let's go. I don't know why are these. I guess here's some blank templates, just like Microsoft Window, and then so let's say we go right here, right? Yes. And then we see we have our Excel. You have your Excel spreadsheet. Some of the layouts are a little different, but for the most part, you have all the functionality and tool sets that you do in a traditional Office suite. Your word processing. So if I can minimize this, and then I can go back to right here and just click on Office, and I can go to Writer. They're calling Writer, which is like the Word document, and so you can see here, and then you can kind of center, right center, left center, etc. So it doesn't have all the functionality, but it's got about 95%. If I wanted to highlight something, I could highlight it. I could do notes. There's a bunch of stuff, a lot of printer options. But where the real thing is that it's free. It doesn't nothing on any of the Linux Mint distros cost any money. And uh, so one of the things that they've recently done is like right here I have Discord, and Discord is now on Linux Mint. It wasn't a year ago, but I have all the functionality of of Linux of Linux Mint, and so you can see here where uh, it's starting to. So now they have TeamSpeak, they have Discord, they have all the functionality, and part of that reason is Steam. And I'll come back to Steam, but I want to just showcase a few of the things. And so, like if I click games, under games, it's just got Steam, right? Accessories, you have your calendars, folders, disk space managers, image viewer. And so let's say I'll just go image viewer, and it's a generic image viewer with some default. But let's say if we even have Explorer, just like I can right click and I can go computer, right trash, and then right here, same as the Windows Explorer, videos, pictures, right? And so here's some of the logos that I worked on today. And I can either use GIMP or I can use the default Explorer. So I'll use the default Explorer and, open image viewer. And if I want, I can add more softwares. You can see how when I minus and plus, it gave me some move link, rename, copy, but I'll just say open, and then there it is, the link that I had. Um, and 90% of this is the same. Some of it's is not as is kind of no frills, but you can definitely see where the functionality is there. And then the way that's unique about this is they have a software manager, and then if you click on your software manager, it kind of breaks it down into those same. They try to simplify it so you kind of you have Steam, Academies, you know Google Earth, Spotify. But let's say you want to click on graphics, and then this is everything that usually pertains to graphics. And so the two powerhouses here are GIMP and Inkscape. And GIMP is your Adobe Photoshop equivalent, and Inkscape is your Adobe Illustrator equivalent. And then Blender is your Maya or 3D Studio Max equivalent. There's a couple things that it kind of shares from those universes, but it's your 3D animation, really powerful. The open source community heavily relies on these three, and then you have your video editors. Your there's a bunch of other stuff in here, but these are kind of um, your your fundamental. And there's so everything in here is free. Um, Lots of plugins, lots of other font managers. So you can just see I can keep scrolling, and people put reviews, and I go back up to, which is crazy because there should be like VLC, there's 2,000 reviews, but in all reality, there should be more than 700 reviews on or 300 reviews on Inkscape because thousands and thousands and thousands of people use this, and I think it's kind of funny how it has so little reviews. I think it's because it's kind of a fire and forget type of once you download it, you never really come back. It's so stable and reliable. But 3D, drawing, photograph, and so it even subcategorizes it into your software packages, so you can explore and really get into tool sets and kind of broaden your learning curve on lots of different software applications without having an out-of-pocket expense. So it drives you to learn new learning curves, learning flows, software development aspects, and some of it's really user. And so you can always get on YouTube and type in any of these software names, and there's tutorials. Um, See, there's a whole bunch of viewers in here, and so there's just a kind of that's just for graphics, and then programming, whole bunch of stuff on programming. If you wanted to develop apps, Android apps, system tools. I think I've kind of fleshed out the software manager, and you just everything's free, and you're not locked down into a and this is not a cloud based. This is a local environment. So this information and everything you do is just stored on your hard drive, and it's very secure in the aspect that the Windows is heavily exploited because it's been around for a while now, and then B, it's some of the software applications very poorly engineered, and then some of the file structures are poorly engineered. And it's one of the benefits that Linux has is it has its root directory, and no one has access to the root directory except administrative control, and software isn't typically stored in the root. And so that's where your kernel is stored. And then it's I don't want to get into a lengthy explanation. I just wanted to kind of give you a general brief um, kind of overview of Linux Mint and what it looks like, and kind of how it flows. And then the second part of this, I'm going to go into, but you can open up your comes default with the web browser, and you can watch YouTube. You got Facebook and all of this. You can have Amazon. Uh, all of all of this stuff is available. Um, Here's my YouTube channel, and then my 25 subscribers. What? And but all the accessibility, all of the things that you can do in Windows, you can do in Linux. And the one thing that is kind of was limiting in the past, which is very rapidly catching up, is Steam, because for me, 90% of my PC use is around the um, the games, and so like I have a library here of 460 games, and when after before, when I would be on Steam, I would just get, if I go to library, now it says Steam OS plus Linux 164. Without the Proton, it used to be 165. There would be 165 games in my library that were native, but now the full library is available in the Steam. Now, some of them don't always work the way that they should. Like, for example, Conan Exiles will play and run well, but BattleEye is not supported in the. So any game that uses BattleEye, which is quite a few of them, because that's your PUBG. Um, I don't remember all of them, but that's the limiting factor. And BattleEye doesn't want to come on board with the Steam OS or the Linux platform. They want to cater to the Windows realm, and I wonder. I kind of have suspicion why a developer would want to just cater to one thing. There has to be a secondary or a third effect. Generating revenue off of players' information or something, right? So there's got to be a way for them to reap some kind of benefit for wanting to stay in that platform, and them switching over to Linux, and the way that the Linux is secured and on a local system, um, probably wouldn't benefit their business model, and so they try to lock out or stand their ground on the development aspect. But eventually, somebody is going to come up with an adaptation to BattleEye or their own version of it. But that's just a little oversight. But these games are rapidly coming on. You know, um, so protondb. I want to show you protondb real quick. Database. And so the deal with this is it is a I'm not 100% sure, and it's basically a wine. Oh wait, that's supposed to be an O. Okay, I was like, I don't know why it's not coming up. There you go, Proton DB. And so here it gives you a quick overview of all of the games that are in development and which ones are working. And so, like, you can see right here, Dota 2 is fully functional. Battlegrounds Unknown is not functional because of BattleEye. Counter-Strike Global Offense fully functional. BattleEye is holding Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Grand Theft Auto works. Warframe works. Rust has some issues. Um, Football Manager's good, and so you can see, um, like, here are some of the popular games that are working on ProtonDB. And so if you play any of these games, you're not tied into the Windows service model, or you're not being harvested. Your information is not being sold to third parties. It's all local on your computer. You have more tools and capabilities to decide what you want to do and share. And the neat thing about this is you can just come up here and, let's say we type in Conan, right? Because I'm all about Conan. And I can just hit enter, and it'll tell me um, what games run well. So you can see Age of Conan is not working. Um, but Conan Unleashed, I'm surprised it doesn't say native. Conan this is funny. I'm surprised it doesn't say native, but yeah, single player and co-op, no issues. Yeah, see, so it's got the platinum status. So they do a platinum, gold, silver, copper. So like Conan, and then so you can see, click on here and you can get feedback. Just don't play BattleEye, server game runs perfect. So BattleEye is the issue, and then you can get in. Some people were having issues with DirectX 11. If they disabled DirectX 11, it would work. Yeah, it's all about the BattleEye, but you can see the game runs relatively pretty well, and over time, and they'll have these dates, so you can see um, as the game and Proton develops, which is kind of Wine 2.0. That's the way I like to think about it, as Wine 2.0. And Wine is a Windows emulator. And so Steam has been kind of developing this Windows emulator to exist and run inside of Linux. And so there are some issues with the DirectX, because DirectX is a Microsoft development, or a Microsoft child. So you have to use OpenGL, or uh, like right here is saying use Win 3D 311. So that's a kind of an adaptation of, I'm sorry, Wine 3D 311. And then you click on here and it'll give you the tutorial on how to fix the issue with the game. And this has come along. I know I said this earlier, but this has come along so much in the last 6 months. I wouldn't be a bit surprised in a year. This is at a 90%. See, nine months ago, broken, broken, broken. So as time progressed, it is polished out, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised in a year. This is fully functional, and I can step away from Windows altogether. I'd like to step away from Google, find an alternate OS for the phone, and stop being a service model for a company that I have no say in. All right. Anyways, I hope this kind of gives you some insight on Linux Mint. Kind of maybe shapes your opinion. Look into service model software. Look into cloud operating systems and cloud. It's not necessarily the benefits and reward are rapidly becoming a disadvantage for the user, and a huge advantage for um, the developer, or like Adobe is a perfect example. When they want you to store all of your content on the server. So let's say you're an engineer and you invent the next wheel, and when you read through that licensing agreement, it basically says that they own the rights to anything on their servers. So even though you invented it, they when you fail to pay that monthly fee, or they decide they don't want to honor that software package or that software suite anymore, your content is now locked into their cloud-based server, and you lose the rights to it, even though it's your brainchild, it's your work of art, it's your masterpiece book, or whatever it is. And that's the way that it's evolving, and I just don't want to be a part of that. So do your homework, look into some of that stuff. Maybe this video will help. It's a seed, and it'll help you um, kind of change the way. Like, I try not to sign up with all of the subscription. I try to stay out of Facebook. It's just not worth it. Um, you know, if you like this kind of content, this is a little bit different than what I normally do, but it's still kind of tied into my Conan, right? Because I was trying to get Conan to run on this older machine at the house, and I was kind of problem solving and networking and troubleshooting, and just kind of getting into the weeds. There's my word, getting into the weeds on technical issues and development. Anyways, thank you very much.